right now because that was hot. Hi, everybody. I am Meredith Vaish. I am a creative clarity coach and creator of PauseBox. And I help busy women like all of us learn how to take meaningful breaks so that you can create momentum and clarity in your life and business. And so we're going to do a little bit of that today. I'm going to share my favorite topic, which is all about how to manage your energy. Because pausing really is kind of this umbrella tool. And then underneath it are all these beautiful modalities that you can use while pausing. And so energy management is one of those things that I find inside my pause box. I lift it out and I shake it off and I try to say, okay, if I'm having an off day, how do I get back on, right? So today's title is Manage Your Energy to Be a More Powerful Creator. I think in this group, we just show of hands, do we all believe we are creators of our life? We're the ones creating our experience. This is not a new concept, so I'm not going to go into that. So the question really is, how does that good energy create kind of smooth the path of all the agenda and all of the goals and all the stuff we have to do? Really importantly, it's all about the stuff we need to be and how we need to show up in that energy. So you know what good energy feels like, right? You know it when it's you know when it's with people around you. So we all know the value of good energy. And I know that we've all had off days. Does everyone have an off day here and there? Okay, good. No one's figured that out yet. No off days. So really, how can you raise your vibe on a daily basis, especially if you're triggered and maybe tired, overwhelmed, or just kind of like not clear on what's happening? How do you get back on path? And the reason this is so near and dear to my heart is I'm particularly bad at it. I have to say, I am one of these go-getter, high achieving types that is constantly doing and constantly looking at the external world for evidence that I'm doing all the right things. And one where I came from, I was in corporate. I was a strategic communications at Stanford, and talk about high achieving people. And we're in the Silicon Valley, and I was in charge of a tech project. So it was like this kind of perfect storm. And what happened was that I worked around the clock with some consultants because they always work around the clock. What is up with them? And, after 3 months of really poor posture and working around the clock from my dinner table, from my bed, from my workstation, I broke. My body just said enough. I woke up one day, couldn't use this arm, couldn't use this hand, couldn't lift, hold a fork, had no strength in this whole part of my body, couldn't turn a doorknob. And it was really a wake-up call for me because it was the forced pause that I was never going to take on my own. And so the doctor, fortunately, Stanford had this awesome treatment plan, and I got access to an acupuncturist. And the doctor kind of forced me to take time off from work, and that was embarrassing. Like, I was so shamed that here I was out in front of everyone, told to not work, told that I was, and I was sure people thought I was like cheating the system, or I was being a baby, just all these names that we put on people who actually rest. I was just so mean to myself. So I'm in the acupuncturist office, and it was first time ever. And I had, I was a little nervous about the needles. I was like, I wonder how that's going to go, a little worried. And she has me lay down and she puts all the needles in, and I'm thinking, okay, I was okay. I'm okay. And then she's like, okay, so I'll leave you here for 20 minutes. And she turns down the lights, and I'll come back and we'll talk after that. So I'm like, okay, 20 minutes, my head's down in the donut. And it's the first time I've ever not done anything for 20 minutes. It's the first time I had stopped. It was the first time. And here I was on a bed, face down with the needles, low lighting, soothing music, and a little bit of a heater. And I was being cared for and nourished, loved, given space. And I even choke up about it now because it was so foreign to me. She came back 20 minutes later, and I had been doing this. I got major waterworks, and the makeup was everywhere. She pretended not to notice, but it was the first time I had given myself a break, and there was so much grief and relief and a real commitment not to do that to myself again. So I ditched corporate because I thought, that was the evil thing that was making me hurt myself, and proceeded to take a sabbatical, figure out what it was I wanted to do for a living, founded PauseBox. That came through its own download for another day. And then I proceeded in 2 years to burn out again. That overachieving, super busy, perfectionist, control freak, all that energy got me right there again. Sorry, guys. That was November. So you can see how urgently I needed this system, because I was so not like, I just would not notice when I was charging ahead, because I had been so rewarded, right? Successful, accomplished, get things done. I mean, the stuff I can pull off, I'm a generator, so the stuff I can pull off in a day is, vast. But ultimately I was depleting myself. And so that is why this whole system that I'm going to share with you guys today, it was a download. It was a gift to me from Source, and it gave me a roadmap. It helped me notice, because I'm incredibly sensitive. So it's not like I wasn't noticing, I just didn't know what to do with that information. It gave me a system to say, where am I showing up? And where do I want to, ultimately go? And how can I get there? Because otherwise I would just sit and spin. And I had some good coaches, and, momentarily I had some relief, but I really wanted some independence and some autonomy around managing my own energy. So that is my story. And what we're going to learn today is how you can spend more time in the zone called the golden zone, right? And I know we all know the zone. It is where flow happens. It is where ease, and it's really the multiplier in our lives. When we are in that golden energy, things almost happen on their own, right? And they surprise and delight us, and we are held, and we show up, and everything feels really good. So this is a story about how to continually help ourselves back into that golden zone when we are triggered by life, by our own internal dialogue. And so this is what we're going to do. I'm looking at my notes because this is the first time I've been teaching this. So I'm going to start with.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, please.
Are you saying gold, G-O-L-D, or gold, G-O-A-L?
Nice. I love that. It's golden, as in a treasure chest of golden energy. But yes, it is the goal.
That's what I thought you said the first time, and then the other times didn't quite sound like that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Golden zone. So what gets in the way of the golden zone? I want to just ask if you guys could unmute, just throw me, given you've heard my story and I know you have stories that are similar, shout out some of the things that get in the way of the golden zone for you.
Cultural standards.
Cultural standards. Nice.
Conditioning.
Oh, yes. Conditioning.
Internal dialogue.
That's a good one.
Adobe Acrobat driving me absolutely nuts.
Very specific Adobe Acrobat.
My children.
Children. Oh,
The to-do
Time.
list.
The to-do list, yes.
list. Who said time?
The goals, too much to do. Just
Yeah,
too much to do.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I would also add just being confused in general. For me, my powerful emotions get in my way, get me sort of triggered. Someone, I think it was the inner critic. Was that you, Audra? Inner voice. Yeah. And hi, fear. Here's something we don't talk a lot about because we're all really positive and powerful golden people, but there's just plain old fear that sometimes we don't recognize is kind of hanging out. Yes, fear and Adobe Acrobat, of course. That's my favorite. So there, if you have a piece of paper and a pen that you can actually scribble, let's do that now. So there is a quadrant and it's super simple. Draw left to right and top to bottom. So you have a big plus, right? It's a quadrant, 4 squares. From the left side of that horizon line, I want you to write the word toil. Toil as in hard work, as in exhaustion. Toil on the left. And all the way on the right, I want you to follow that line until the end, and it's called trust. So moving from toil to trust is that horizon line. On the vertical line, go all the way to the bottom. And that's where you are self-forgetting, right? Some people have said it's self-abandonment. I'd say that's like the basement of self-forgetting. I'm going to start us at self-forgetting. And then up the self-forgetting line, the tower, the vertical line of self-forgetting is self-honoring. So at the top of that line is called self-honoring. These are the axes in super easy ways that at any point in your life, you can say, where am I? Am I in toil? Am I trusting myself, the universe, others? Am I self-forgetting? Like, am I people pleasing? Am I here at all? Am I, aware of what I need? To self-honoring. Am I listening? Am I tuning in? Am I intentional about who I am and who I want to be? So those are the axes. And to make it kind of more colorful for you, I've given these quadrants names. And for those of you who's taken the energy quiz, yay, good. Okay, so I will leave a URL to look at the energy quiz later. It's a fun way to see how you're showing up. It also has a download, so with lots and lots more detail than I'm going to give you today. But so there's 4 quadrants. In the bottom left, in that kind of self-forgetting and toil sort of area, is called struggle. So go ahead and write struggle. And then let's move to the right, the bottom right. That's in the self-forgetting, but a little more trust, which I've been going back and forth. Sometimes I call this quadrant lucky, and sometimes I call it just self-forgetting. So we're going to call it self-forgetting today. You kind of luck out. You're sort of on autopilot. You're not real intentional about stuff. Self-forgetting. Over on the upper left, this is where I hang out a ton. It's called hustle. That's where you're super high in toil, hard work, everything under your own steam, and control freakish. So you're not trusting anything to work out unless you do it. But also pretty intentional, like a lot of goals, right? GOALS, a lot of goals in that hustle. So you're pretty high in that department, but you're super high in the toil and you're taking it all on. And then upper right, that's where we all want to be and spend a lot more time. And that's our golden zone. That's when we're super high in honoring ourselves, listening and tuning in. We're also really high in trust, allowing, receiving, all that yummy stuff over there. So just show of hands if you can if you have any instincts before I go and talk about some clients that I've worked with and how they show up, any instincts on where you might be showing up. Show of hands would be struggle. Anybody struggling? Okay. Self-forgetting. Anybody self-forgetting? Thank you. Maybe. Okay. Hustle. Anybody hustle? Entrepreneurs? Working all the time. Yeah, good. Anybody today enjoying the golden zone? Yay, momentarily. It's beautiful. Shine your light. We love that. That's a beautiful way to go. I've never been able to maintain that, but that is the goal of my life. So here, real quick, I want to take you through 3 stories because I think this will help you figure out where you show up. And what's interesting about this system is not about labeling. You're not one department forever. You are probably showing up in this way for now. You may actually try on a couple of these energies during the day. It also might be, I've found in different facets of my life, I'm in different energies. So if you look at my finances, you might find me in self-forgetting, not particularly intentional, not particularly, but somehow lucky, like things are working out, but I'm not like on it. In my work life, definitely hustle. Sometimes in my creative life, I'm in struggle. There's a lot of fears. I'm shut down. There's some writer block, so this is a system that can be used macro level and it can be used micro level. And it's actually really handy in the micro level because sometimes you're like, why is this not working? I'm so good in all the other ways. It could be that you have a specific piece of your life that's in a different zone than the rest of you. So for clients, I'll talk to you about my struggle girl first. So she is an educator. And you can imagine with COVID, the amount of, I won't say angry, she doesn't come across as anger, but she comes across as a lot of victim energy, right? There's a lot of, it's out of my control. I can't believe this has happened. She's an in-person kind of person, so she really gets a lot from her showing up every day, and now she's put on Zoom and she's bummed out and she's really missing all that in-person contact. And it's become for her, she was noticing how critical she was being and judgy about her colleagues and her friends, and she was waiting for people to know what her needs were, and she was being disappointed. So that was her energy when she took the quiz. Then I have another friend who was a healthcare worker, and she was complaining of a ton of burnout, compassion exhaustion. What do we call that? It's like a compassion fatigue, right? So lots of outflow, lots of doing for others, and very little taking care of herself. And this is, big emergency stuff. It's not like it's easy to say no to people who are having emergencies. So she was in overwhelm. She would say that she would drive and then she would notice when she arrived, but she forgot the entire drive. So, but not in a good way, like daydreaming. It was just more autopilot, checked out. So that was her in the self-forgetting zone. My hustle clients, I have many of them, and of course I'm a particularly good model of this. She was complaining of a ton of tension, right? And if you think of my injury, it was all about tension, right, Davia? Stress, tension. She complained of a ton, like just life is noisy. She was doing a lot of black and white thinking. It's either all or nothing. Tons of, racing mind, like she couldn't get out of her head. It was just going. And constantly feeling like she had to put out fires. And my golden girl, she showed up as, she once claimed hustle, but she said she, because of her cancer, she had learned very quickly that she wanted her days to count. And so she had practiced very early on in her cancer journey to give it over and to really go on all the way out on that trust spectrum and really look for joy. So she had changed her entire focus of her life. And she is a coach, and she's also now expressing herself through art. but she's had given up the hamster wheel. So she occupies that golden zone quite regularly because of her journey, because it was a forced reckoning, and that was the lesson that she learned from that. So now that we've gone through that, do we have any more clarity? Is anybody stuck on where they might be showing up? Show of hands. Do you feel like you have a home base, or at least you know where you spend most of your time? I'm looking, I don't know if I can see everybody. So shout out if you need me. Awesome. Okay, so now it's your turn. We're gonna do a little activity, because knowing and doing and feeling and being are really different things. So like I said, these are patterns, and they're not fixed. These show up differently based on the day, can vary by life area. And so as you draw your quadrants, and you've kind of gotten a sense of where you are spending a lot of your time, what I want you to do is maybe just, let's just take 3 breaths, because I really want you to tune into your wisdom here. This has been a lot of head information. I want you just to tune into what your heart might want to offer, or your intuition wants to offer, your inner guidance. Maybe one last breath. And I want you to write down a few ideas, maybe 1 to 3 ideas on what you could do right now to move toward either self-honoring or trust. Is there anything that kind of comes up from your soul that says, yeah, here's some ideas, I could do this, or this would be, or maybe stop doing? It doesn't always have to be adding on. Just take a minute and grab those ideas, and don't put any limits on them. How are the ideas flowing? Do we have a handful? Great. Anybody need more time? Looks like we're good. So now you're going to tune in again. You're going to thank your inner being for all those good ideas, ways you can feel more trusting, receiving, ways you can listen more and honor more of what your inner being wants. So now look at those ideas. And is there one idea that feels particularly juicy or energetic? Great, circle that idea. You can circle a couple, but I want you to leave here today with at least one juicy, energetic idea, and maybe even a little scary, that you could do in the next 1 to 3 days, super small amount of time, to honor yourself. And it could be simple. It could be material. It could be just putting on a new lipstick. I love lipstick. It could be making sure you take that walk that you said you're going to take. Could be petting your dog. So it's the whole spectrum. It could be, buying a new cashmere yummy thing that you just cuddle up with. Does everybody have one thing at least circled? Excellent. Okay, so if you feel comfortable, I would love you all to declare that one thing, because this is an energetic accountability container. Declare it in the chat. What's that one thing you're going to do, experience, receive, stop doing? Great. I see. Delegate. I love that one. Yes. Pause. Walk and hike. Yeah. Increase your movement. That always works for me. Yoga. Dye my hair pink. Who's the pinky? Yay! Oh my God, I love that. That is another winner. I've never heard that one before. Meditate when I start slipping into fear. Yeah. Yeah, can I just say on that point, we're going to move into remedies and actions. And funny enough, struggle is at the top of the list. Because we are so spiritually minded, very smart, high vibe kind of people, I noticed that I don't recognize fear very often, but I recognize the symptom of fear. And so what the symptom of fear looks like is a total shutdown. When usually you have access to your creativity, or you have access to your positivity, or you have access to new ideas, or just your own internal guidance. When all that goes off and you feel like, what's happened? Start with a list of fears. Just grab a piece of paper and write down 10 things that you're afraid of. And you don't have to share it with anyone, and you don't have to fix it or solve it. You just have to acknowledge it, because the minute your fears are given voice on a page, it's a miraculous, magical process where all of a sudden they've been honored, and then they kind of go, okay, I'll let the energy back in now. Yeah, it doesn't solve it, but it gives you, it puts you in that position where you can then start the work and start moving toward golden. So if you're in struggle, writing down your fears is really powerful. Specifically for strugglers, appreciation, right? So showing appreciation, and this is more than gratitude. Appreciation is really that revelry, and what you appreciate appreciates by Lynn Twist. So giving that object of lots of energy and appreciation and affection, that's a powerful way to raise your vibration. If you're in struggle, taking ownership. So my friend, or my client who was in that sort of, she was a teacher and she was pissed and mad and the world's against me. She actually initiated a date with her friend to the museum, because that's what she knew that she needed to soul nourish, right? So she rose up in self-honoring by taking the initiative and saying, I have a need and I want to be with my friends, and this is what we should do. And so she organized it. She didn't wait. So for our self-forgetting people, remind me if you're self-forgetting in any area of your life. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. So for you all, it's actually I think it's one of the easier quadrants to get out of, because really what it takes is when you're in self-forgetting, you are detached from your desire. And when you're detached from desire, you are unable to know what you want. And you're, so getting intentional and naming your desires. I once had someone ask me, like, write down 10 things you want. And I'm like, I have no idea. I haven't thought about it. I'm so busy thinking about everybody else. I know what my kids want. I know what my husband wants. What do I want? Holy God, I don't know. So even just making a list of 10 things you want. And again, it doesn't have to be a Tesla, though that was on my list. It could be very simple things. It could be a nourishing meal made for me or someone else, or purchased, whatever. So get clear on what you desire, maybe just one thing, set an intention, get intentional, and affirm your own gifts. When we're in self-forgetting, we forget that we're amazing. So affirm your gifts. My client that was in self-forgetting, she rededicated herself to her yoga practice. She had fallen off. So usually when we fall off our practices, that's where we go into our self-forgetting quadrant. So our hustle folks, give me a show of hands. Hustle, hustle, hustle. I know you're out there. Okay, thank you. Oh my God, our hustle people. Thank you. Yes, in the house. So y'all, when you find yourself in hustle, you start needing to let go of rules, right? Oh my God, the rules we live by, there's, we have to get up at a certain time. We have to get things done. We have to, I never eat this with that. And like the rules can be so draining. And there's so much structure in it. Us hustlers love our structure because it makes us so productive and it's so predictable. But holy God, it's soul draining when we have all those rules. So my challenge for the hustlers is to let go of rules so that you can actually listen, like hear when the rules go away, what do I actually want? What do I need now? What do I most need now? And how can I honor that? And rules be damned, take an hour away from rules. They'll still be there. The world won't fall apart. Let go of the labels. Labels are kind of a vicious part of the rule patriarchy. I see them as kind of combined. And celebrate wins. Our hustlers never take time to celebrate wins. What is good about what I've done, and don't diminish it. And really just appreciate it. Right? So honor yourself, what you need right now. So my hustler, she actually practiced self-compassion for her, tuning in and actually taking time to do her meditation, because that had also fallen off of her schedule, because you get tired, exhaustion. She'd fall asleep during her meditations. And she was really thoughtful about practicing releasing control. And really just trusting that it doesn't have to happen all with my own steam. I'm part of this bigger universe of resources and talents and skills, and everything's always going to work out for me. So that's where she went with her. And she also bought one of my possibility oils. So she was very much into needing a trigger, an essential oil to kind of really help her tune into that different energy. My golden, there was not much for me to do other than celebrate who she is. And really, I believe as we are in our golden light, we are that lighthouse where we don't have to rush around and save anybody. We get to just stand brightly and shine our light, and people are guided by it. So for all you goldens out there, just continue doing what you do. And we all appreciate that light so much. So was that helpful as far as remedies? Did anyone get a new idea about maybe what they could apply? Oh, good. Naomi, can you unmute and maybe share a little bit? There you are.
I love this framework. It's really a beautiful framework. And I also love that it fits right into like everything else, it's not separate. and I think I wasn't really admitting how much I was in hustle, right? Oh yeah, I'm not, but I am. And, I loved it. Even when you asked us to close our eyes, it was like, just be, not do, and share, not seek. So that's my message. Hustle, right? And the other things that you said too about that too. Especially when you are a coach and you're always guiding other people. I hear all these amazing things, and then hustle gets, I stick it back in. So I'm going to put hustle on a Post-it for myself too. Are you in hustle? Just yeah.
Brilliant. That's a great one. I love it. A Post-it. Perfect. Who else wants to share either what they're committing to, or show me, Kathleen.
Oh, I noticed with a lot of people who leave corporate life to become an entrepreneur, they think they're going to have control over their lives, but they have that same corporate mentality of filling every minute. So I think what you're doing is so important. There's such an important need for what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was so I looked around, and my second burnout, and I'm like, there is not a cube in sight. This is me. I cannot blame it on the corporate culture. Thank you, Kathleen. Christy, are you raising your hand? High five. I don't even know what that is. That's awesome.
Oh, here you go. Look at that. I got a heart too.
Yay. We're giving Kathleen a high five. Yay.
So I just wanted to say I had a visual when you were asking us to close our eyes and think of different activities. Because I know, especially in hustle, it's so easy to just add an activity or replace something.
Yeah.
And the vision I had was what has felt like the golden zone for me, and it can easily come and go, but is this idea of like pausing and letting go and not filling the space. And, you know, as a generator too, fellow generator, opportunities are flowing all the time around us. And it's like, and I have an example, perfect example for this. I have a friend who I'm going to see social distanced, but she said, how about we see each other Tuesday? And my schedule was clear. And I was like, oh, this is so great. And then she changed it and said, I need to do it Wednesday. So Wednesday, I had 3 things in my calendar. And when I just said, okay, I would love to just be outside seeing this person when the weather's also not going to be probably snow, but my calendar cleared up. Like I didn't have to force it. It's like I just said, somehow this will work out. I'm just going to stay in whatever joy it is that I feel about seeing somebody or having a free day, or just the schedule shifting around. And it did it on its own because I didn't control it.
Ooh.
It was just, you know, I visualize that I need more of that, like just openness and kind of letting go.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I thought you were going to say, you said no because you were like boundaries and this is my, but I like your ending even better. That it just resolved, that things opened up. And not filling the space. Can I use that? That's going to be a new social post for me because that's so powerful.
Christy, that same experience happened to me today. I was supposed to have another conflict right now. Like all week, I was supposed to have, you know, this profit priority challenge, and Dallas is getting like a ton of snow. And so it got postponed a week. And so that is no longer on my calendar, and it freed me up so much so that I could come to this today, which is really what I need, because my body is telling me, stop, take more of a break. And so it's what allowed me to be here. And then even I was supposed to meet with you today, Christy, and you asked me if we could move our meeting. And so like my whole calendar just opened wide up so that I could rest and take a nap and come to this.
Oh, yay, Jessica, we're all celebrating that. That does feel good.
So you started
Who else? Alice.
You started off, Meredith, by basically showing us the urgency of stopping and pausing. And as we've been listening to everybody, obviously there are many ways that people can take time for themselves, manage their own energy. And I realized that all my life, I have been managing to take time for myself practically every night, because every night when I crawl into bed, before I actually go to sleep, I read. But I don't read business books. I don't read self-help books. I read fiction. Okay, so I get immersed in the story. I forget about everything else around me. So when I finally shut off the light to go to sleep, I may be still in the story wondering what's happened, but I've taken a little time for myself. And I just never really realized that that was a way of giving to myself.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to try to remember this, because I run into so many people, particularly busy moms who are career women and entrepreneurs, who say, reading? I haven't read a book in 5 years since I had my first child. I don't have time for reading. Well, maybe you should see it as self-compassion.
Yeah.
Okay. Pick a genre you like. No business books, nothing like that, because that makes you think differently.
Yeah.
But things that make you take you out of your world.
Yeah.
Which is also what I do sometimes when I watch TV and movies. So there are certain things that I never quite equated with this. I guess I've been doing it all my life. And
yeah, I think I totally agree with you. I'm remembering the first time I read the Outlander series. And I had never, I don't read fiction. I'm one of those people. But boy, Outlander, transportive. And there was something, yes, I was distracting myself from, some other things. So it was it was a sort of different kind of pause where I was just sort of wanting to escape. But, the way I was able to escape, and the land that was created, and the relationships, and the hot guy, and the gorgeous woman, and romance novels, I can definitely go there on a good day. So I agree, Alice Sawyer. That is a great way to honor yourself.
The escapism provided by books is
Yep.
very different than a fantasy you create in your own mind. Even fantasy books are different than what you create in your own mind.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you get immersed in a story. So I recommend books.
We're
Can
gonna
I
get
say-
from you.
I recommend book groups.
And book
You don't
groups. Nice.
necessarily have to say a word in a book group, just show up. So, if
Very
you
good.
find the
Thank
right
you.
group.
Audra, I want to hear from you.
Is it possible to, well, I do vacillate, I pendulum between hustle and, I want to say self-loathing, but it's self-forgetting. Like, no, I'm not always self-forgetting. I could have a bad day. I could maybe have 3 bad days out of a week, but I feel like I'm in between. And I'm
Yep.
only down by self-forgetting if I'm like lost in the sauce because there's so much to do. So I do the overthinking, analysis paralysis.
Yeah, that sounds
So wherever
Perfectly legit.
you, that sounds normal?
totally legit, because you're essentially not being intentional, right? So the hustle, you're immersed in the doing, and you're not thinking about the feeling. Like, what am I intentionally trying to create feeling wise? And the self-forgetting is also in that sort of, I'm either other directed, I'm very externally focused, I'm taking care of others, and I'm not putting myself on that list. The self-loathing probably.
So I
falls
take a
under
break from hustle by going over to self-forgetting.
self-forgetting. Yeah. So where we want you to explore, and maybe, are you comfortable sharing what some of the ideas that came up when you said you would commit to
My
creating
fixes?
more trust, more self-honoring?
Yeah, I was going to, listen to my gut and then heed. Like, you can't just listen and tune in. You actually got to do something with the information that you get. So
Yeah.
listen and heed, and then, give myself a curfew. I'm a night owl, but it doesn't work in our
That's
world.
great.
So give myself a curfew, even though I will feel better to get that work done. My clients can wait.
Yeah.
And then use my mother-in-law to help with the kid pickup, because dear Lord, I need an Uber for moms.
Yes. Yes.
If I could pick up, I'm divorced, but I can still speak to her and she still loves her grandchildren. So I can pick up the phone and say, I need you. She's like, okay.
And she'll be delighted.
Yeah.
So that's that asking piece. And I find that folks in hustle have a real aversion. It's just not a natural thing for us to ask for help, even to identify that we need help. That's number one. Like, we didn't even take the moment to identify we need help. And then, God forbid, we go ask for it, because thirdly, it may not be done the way we want it. So it's a self-fulfilling place over there in the hustle world. So I love that you may be exploring a curfew, and you're going to be calling up the mother-in-law to see when she might be able to give you a little space.
Yeah. And I think the big aha for me with everyone in their morning routines is a successful morning routine begins the night before. Like, I'm a night owl, so if I go to bed really late, I can't do my 5 a.m. gym class. I can't, so it's
Exactly.
whatever it talks about how it actually starts at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock the night before. So,
Beautiful. Great learning. I love that. I'm of course exhausted and fast asleep around 8:55. But I have heard of you, night owls. I find you fascinating. I don't understand what keeps you up, but I'm also up at 5 a.m. So we all have different rhythms. Are you a generator too, Audra?
I am a generator.
Yeah.
And I just feel like once you have kids, you can't be a night owl anymore. It doesn't matter what your
Because they get up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to get over that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Any last shares? I know we're wrapping up.
I could say something.
Yes, please. Susan.
So I just wanted to talk to something that Alice said, and that is that and how you can focus on yourself more. And I'm saying this but I mean me too. Like, I say I don't have time, but when you just do things that you always do, but do it with the intention, a different intention,
Yeah.
like taking a shower, This is my time. I'm focusing on me. Like really take it in. And stay in the moment more, stay in your body more. And we're gonna feel naturally like we are taking better care of ourselves. Even if it's even if it's washing the dishes, stay in the moment, experience it. And it's a way to kind of get out of the hustle without really getting out of the hustle.
Right. Well, so on that note, I'm so glad you said that, because on my original quadrant, instead of self-honoring, it was intentional, because anything done with intention moves you up that path. But then I realized, oh, you really do have to fulfill, not only listen and be intentional, but also really honors. It's what Audra just mentioned, the how did you put it? Listen and heed. It's the heed part of intention. It's self-honoring. So I love that you bring intention back, because it is such an important component to all that we do with our energy. Anything else? Davia, are we ready to close out? I just wanted to, I wanted to let you guys know about ways that you can continue on this journey with me if this is something that appeals to you. You can take the energy quiz, and I'm going to put it here. It is a fun quiz, and you're going to get a lot more information about beliefs and mindsets. You're going to get information about just general, how do you know when you're in certain energy? And then over time, I'm going to be developing more of a masterclass about, the different remedies and stuff that we can do to kind of help us get back to golden. So I've put the energy quiz link in the chat. And other than that, I have a wonderful Pausability group. That's Pause plus Possibility. And I know some of you guys are in there. It's on Facebook. I would love to welcome you to that community of amazing women, maybe one guy. And there's always one guy, isn't there, Davia? So please join me, Pausability, over on Facebook. And then, of course, if there is something that really spoke to you today, I would love to hear from you, and happy to answer any questions. I do have some opt-ins and other resources, so you can always check those out and just reach out to me and let me know what's up. So thank you all. I'm so appreciative of your participation, and what an amazing group this is. And thank you. Aw. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you. That was so very, it was just so spot on. I would say my biggest takeaway from today is that, and it's something that I continue to work on, when I get into working on a project, and I think it's, and Christy, you can let me know if you think this is a thing. It's a projector thing. When you get immersed in a project, you have more energy than maybe any other type, because you can keep going and going. But I need to remind myself that I can stop. I actually can. And I can delegate, and I can actually take time to celebrate my wins. I think it was Lynn that posted that in the chat, that celebrating wins is something that we just very often seem to just jump right over and move on to the next thing that's on the list. And taking that time is so important. Anybody else have any takeaways, anything that stood out for them today? Nothing stood out. Great. Awesome.
We're all just in awe of amazing energy.
Just how powerful the rest is.
Yeah.
How important it is. That's I feel like that's the main, feels like a real core message.
I agree with that, Suzanne. As a matter of fact, I would even go so far as to say that we forget that the rest is a part of the process. And we think that it's just the process. But without the rest, and you creatives, April, people, Elizabeth, you people who are doing creative endeavors, you know that if you don't give your brain a break, you cannot produce. It's not possible. But yet, why do we have such a hard time making the time for the break, building it in when it's so important? That's really, really huge. Anybody else?
Sure.
Barb, would you go ahead, please?
Yeah, I think just being self-aware of assessing where you are at this given point in time is huge, because there's, I know for myself, there's a lot of times where I'm just go, 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 go. I'm just I'm just an afterthought. So
Mhm.
just being self-aware of, wait a minute, stop, assess, and listen to your intuition. And what is it telling you? Do you need to stop? Probably. It's here. So thank you.
If you're asking the question, yes. Beautiful.
Awesome. I think that
Lynn had
there,
a comment.
Lynn, where are you, Lynn? There you
I'm
are.
right here. No, I think even though that I have so many more moments now where I'm in the golden spot, I really am. You really, in order to stay there, you have to be aware, and you have to be constantly checking yourself. And if you're not, like I noticed, I'm like, I really could delegate more, and I be happier, or I need to let go of certain things and say no just a little bit more often, and really go with my gut instinct and know when I need to, do the right thing or not do the right, and I think it's so important because this is really like the real stuff. And thank you so much, Meredith, because that just brought everything to more clarity
Beautiful.
to assess everything. Yeah, very important.
Can I just add something?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So as a creative person, the thing that I like the least is structure, because it just kind of harnesses me. But what I found that this year has been the most helpful for me in achieving a peaceful state of mind is, every morning that I wake up, I do daily intentions. I pick 3 intentions. And I also do 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I haven't deviated from that. And I do an oracle card reading for myself every morning. And I find that even that little bit of structure is enough to like center me. And then the rest of the day, like I can still be my creative self, not really having a schedule, so to speak. I sleep, I sleep when my body tells me to sleep. But I never thought I would be someone who would appreciate structure, but I do.
Beautiful. Well, that's time that you're devoting for self. That's beautiful.
Lovely, lovely. Well, ladies, I so very deeply appreciate Meredith for joining us today. I'm looking forward to having her on the show again sometime in the very near future. I am so grateful to all of you for showing up today and really participating and bringing your energy to the collective, because it's when we get together like this that we raise all our vibrations, and this ripples out into the world in a way that I cannot explain with words, but it really, really does make a difference in all of our lives when we take this time to get together. So I cannot say enough just how grateful I am for that. I am inviting you all to 2 things that are upcoming. One is the Ladies Power Lunch pre-note event. And we're going to have a very special speaker for that. It's going to be a workshop. It's an hour long. It's next week, Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern. For those of you who know Darla Ledoux, you know this is a do not miss event. It's an opportunity. Like, Darla does not do these things, and she's doing it for us. So this is great. And she's going to be talking to us about step 1 in the process of being a success in any season. Being a success no matter what challenges show up for us. It's a 100% free workshop, and this is a very sought after speaker, and I am bringing her to you. So guys, I am inviting you to please sign up for this. Block the time on your calendar. It's going to be well worth it. And if you have a friend, of course, do invite them to come along. So that's coming up. And then for those of you who do not know about this, I'm not sure which rock you've been hiding under. Hopefully it's a beautiful one. We have our summit coming up, our Ladies Power Lunch Spring Summit, and that is going to be on March 15th. And we have 20 outstanding speakers. 2 of them are guys, 18 of them are women. So I invite you all to look on the Facebook group, make sure you get your tickets, make sure that you are in the room with us, because we are going to be really learning all of what it takes to be successful, even when the pictures around us aren't looking the way that we might like them to. And it is 2 p.m., 2 in the afternoon here in Connecticut. And so, in the interest of being respectful of everybody's time, I'd like to say thank you so much for showing up today. And I'd like to invite you to join us on the next show. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.